Let it begin. Oh, hey, we are live. What's up, wrestling fans?
Or as our new intro goes, let it begin. I think is how we start this one out.
Let it begin. I need to clean my glasses and my phone. I said, yeah, I was ready to go, but I totally wasn't. What's up, everybody?
What's up, wrestling fans?
Show.
That's right.
Oh.
Let's begin the Two Bros Wrestling Show.
Let it begin. Here we go.
And here we go. AEW Revolution is where we're going to next. That is next Sunday night. But we in our main event topic, Doug, have a preview for the folks at home.
Yes, we do. Man, I hate AEW pay-per-views on Sunday nights because they last about 3 days anyway.
On a work night.
On a work night. I mean, I'm going to have to finish with the main event and then go to work. Go straight to work the next morning is what's going to happen.
We got the full card rundown, folks. And yes, next Sunday night, we will not be live, but we'll be getting into that in a little bit as to what we're going to do for next weekend to make sure we're not competing with the pay-per-view. Appreciate you all joining us and talking AEW Revolution. But before we talk Revolution,
let's do some news.
Let's do some news. Opening bell time. Doug, I don't know if you're looking for the spare change in the couch or what, but reportedly Vince McMahon wants $9 billion from you.
Let me tell you, man, I think we've talked a little bit about this, and my exact quote was Disney only gave George Lucas $4 billion for Star Wars. Vince is an insane old man, and whoever pays $9 billion for it, which will probably be Saudi. Maybe it's so high, so only Saudi can buy it. I don't know. But that doesn't seem right to me. I don't think that the WWE has the franchise and namesake that a franchise like Star Wars has, that Disney would come in and scoop up for $9 billion.
It definitely does not, but as crazy high as that seems, he may be starting high as a negotiating tactic.
Sure.
And go play devil's advocate on you here for a second. So
play away.
Disney, Star Wars, I get it. However, apples to apples, or let's think on the sports side instead of the entertainment side. It's worth comparing how recent sports brands have been sold. And so right now, the Denver Broncos are in the process of being sold to an investment group. One team, the Denver Broncos, $6.5 billion is what that acquisition is going to be. There's a bundle deal for the Phoenix Suns and the Mercury the Phoenix Mercury, the men and women's basketball teams in Phoenix. Combined, that went $4 billion. New York Mets went for $2.4 billion 3 years ago. And then in the ballpark of what we're talking about here with WWE, the Big Ten recently struck a 7-year, $7 billion media rights deal with Fox, CBS, and NBC. So the only reason I bring this up is that cord cutting seems to have had an unexpected impact on sports, and by extension, sports entertainment, because sports is one of the few remaining programs that people actually watch live. And the price for sporting rights has skyrocketed as a result. It's not that, it's not that Star Wars is only worth half of what WWE is. It's WWE may consider itself as being fast forward proof, binge proof. People are going to tune in and you'll drive higher ad dollars than you would for The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, which, by the way, has yet to turn a profit. It should be pointed out. It's why Fox is paying $205 million a year just to show SmackDown on Friday nights. It seems out of whack. I completely agree with you, and especially when you look at it in just the sheer numbers. But then you look at sports to sports and you realize that's the only reason some people haven't cut the cord yet is they watch sports and they watch news. And those two things the ad industry has tanked, except for on Fox News and ESPN. And those are, it is what the current landscape is. And maybe crazy old Vince McMahon isn't completely crazy.
Man, our wrestling programming is going to be owned by Saudi soon because I think they're the only ones
That
because I
has the
don't think
money.
that have the money to invest in wrestling. I mean, wrestling seems like such a I don't know. Maybe the ad dollars are there, and maybe the on paper it does come across as sports, but I've never thought of wrestling as sports. Not even during the years of sports entertainment, it's wrestling. So that's an interesting take. I had not truly considered, because I'm thinking, yeah, an NFL team, 6, 8, 12, 10 billion, sure, whatever. That makes sense in my sports ball head because I don't know anything about sports ball, but I know about Star Wars and I know about wrestling. And those two are not on equal terms, man.
No, and they're not, except for the fact that WWE may consider itself as being cord cutting proof. Um, it's probably why Tony Khan remains confident that he's going to get a beneficial TV deal, despite the fact that Warner Discovery is slashing
Yeah,
left and right. And he still seems confident that it's not going to be him because maybe he feels immune to the cost cutting that, your Westworlds and stuff got because you're too expensive and we don't make money off of you. It's probably why old man Vince thinks that at least he can start at the 9 billion, but we will see, of course. Actually, a good
God,
teaser because we will have plenty more on this story in our special episode that will
indeed we
be
will.
the very next episode of the Two Bros Wrestling Show, Wrestling for Sale. We're going to look at the history of these type of transactions in the world of professional wrestling. We will have more details on that special program at the end of tonight's broadcast. That's why we call it teaser, Doug. Get people to
Look
stick
at
around
that.
to the end. You like that?
Look at that. Be sure to stick around to the end and don't forget to hit that like and follow button if you haven't already or subscribed.
There we go. Doug knows how it's done. Doug, big announcements. So we have ours at the end of the show. Tony had his on Wednesday night. Of course, being that TBS has ordered AEW All Access, a 1-hour reality series that takes viewers behind the scenes at AEW. It debuts next month at conveniently 10 o'clock on Wednesdays, right as Dynamite ends on the sister channel of TBS over there on TNT. Doug, are you excited about this? Are you going to roads to the top this one, or?
We will talk about this at the end of the show. Let me just say that.
I understand. I see what you're putting down there. Boy, we got a lot of teasers now. Everyone has to stick around to the end of this show. We're going to backfill this thing. There's a lot of big news coming at
I
the
think we are.
end. On to less pleasant things to talk about, but the Jeff Hardy DUI, they got him dismissed from AEW back in June of last year. It's finally been resolved after 8 months of legal wranglings. Hardy submitted a written plea of nolo contendere. And no, Doug, I see the look on your face. That is not a new luchador. And Doug's already like going to Pro Wrestling Tees and ordering.
Nolo contendere.
He's going to have the shirt next week.
Bring back the Latino World Order.
That is a plea that you can make where you basically accept the punishment without either denying or accepting responsibility for what you are being charged with. Because of his prior offenses, Hardy received a pretty stiff punishment as a result of this. His license has been revoked for an entire decade. It will be 10 years before Jeff Hardy is legally able to drive again. He'll be on probation for 2 years, and he also has to complete a mandatory rehab, which let's hope to God that he does, because truly the man is his own worst enemy, and we all wish. I mean, Jeff Hardy is a generational talent. You cannot deny that the man changed. He and his brother changed wrestling and tag team wrestling when they came in. We hope he gets it together for his own sake and the sake of his family and those who love him. So that's where Jeff Hardy currently sits. AEW had made it clear when they dismissed him back in June that he would not be allowed back until he completed rehab. There's no telling after the court mandated rehab if he'll even be able to wrestle, have a desire to wrestle, if it would be even healthy for him to attempt to wrestle. A lot of ifs with this and Jeff Hardy.
unfortunately.
Doug, much lighter note, former NXT standout Bodie Hayward is now Brady Booker, who wrestled on AEW Dark this week against Dak Draper, who used to be, I guess, Dax Draper, former Impact star, current NWA guy, because, Tony Khan needs more wrestlers, apparently.
If there's one thing Tony needs, it's more wrestlers.
It's more wrestlers. Let's switch the subject here, Doug, and let's talk Record Store Day. What do you say?
Wait, are we on the right show? Did I log on to the wrong podcast, the video podcast? Is this a new show we're doing? Because I don't have graphics or anything for this one.
I knew once I said that you would think that I'm talking about Storytellers Union and I'm on our other channels, which, by the way, go follow everyone if you don't follow Storytellers Union. No, there's actually, for those who don't know what Record Store Day is, it's an annual event where we try to get folks into brick and mortar record stores with rare and unique one-of-a-kind releases. And this year, Record Store Day has a wrestling connection. It's the very first ever vinyl release of Be a Man, the 2003 rap album by none other than, Randy Macho Man Savage.
Nice, Randy Savage.
Thank you. Nice. Doug, you can update your copy of Be the Man, because I know you probably bought it back in the day, right?
Of course.
Be a Man. You were one of the few. It sold less than 15,000 copies on CD when it came out more than 20 years ago. And now it's being pressed on a limited 1,000 pieces of purple vinyl. Includes a two-sided full-color insert with photo and an album history. And the title track is famously a complete diss track of Hulk Hogan.
I know I've got my Hulk Hogan diss track queued up and ready to go, so... But I'm curious, why purple? Is there like a House of Purple tie?
I'm thinking maybe it's the purple garb that the Macho Man kind of had there towards the end with the streamers and the that's what I'm guessing purple.
Okay, but, I guess I've blocked that out. I'm remembering like the black and white NWO Macho, and that's about.
Oh yeah, no, it's more like, I guess that because it's a Hulk Hogan diss track, so it's probably more like the end of WWE era, the Randy Macho Man Savage, and that diss track, just to give you an idea of the flow. Here we go. They call you Hollywood. Don't make me laugh, because your movies and your acting skills are both trash. Your movie straight to video, the box office can't stand. While I got myself a feature role in Spider-Man. The great Randy Macho Man Savage, everybody. Be a Man is going to be in participating record stores on Record Store Day, April 22nd, 2023. And Doug, going to end this segment this week by saying goodbye. And this week, not a death. So a happy goodbye and a thank you to Kaiji Muto, better known stateside fans as the Great Muta. Muta stepped into the ring for the final time this week for Pro Wrestling Noah, taking on Tetsuya Naito. Muto gave quite the showing, but as many legends do, he chose to go out on his back, taking the Destino from Naito, and the Great Muta didn't just end his career with a loss. Doug, did you hear about it? He ended it with 2. So after losing to Naito, the Great Muta called out Masahiro Chono for an impromptu match.
Let's do it. Let's just do all the things on our way out the door.
Chono accepted and then went on to tap out Muta with an STF, and what will officially be the last match for both legends. So he chose to go out with 2 quick losses, which is kind of cool, actually. Muta began his career in 1984. And despite most of his success, of course, coming in Japanese promotions, he wrestled clear around the world, including obviously the U.S. with recent appearances on AEW matches and Impact. Of course, to most side fans, his classic appearances were with WCW back in the late 80s, early 90s. Muta is a former Triple Crown heavyweight champion, IWGP heavyweight champion, GCH heavyweight champion, WCW television champion, WCW World Tag Team champion, NWA Florida heavyweight champion, and that's not even 10%. I mean, it just goes on and on and on, just to name a small few. Doug, what are your memories of Muta? Did you like Muta back in the WCW days? I'm presuming NWA, WCW is your...
NWA, WCW is my Muta, but it's one of those things where where I know the name, I recognize it, but with bigger names, like unfortunately, like our Bret Harts, our Ric Flairs, Muda gets lost in all that. I remember. Oh gosh, what the Kabuki Warrior?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
the great
Actually, yeah,
Kabuki.
Muda kind of came in with the
The
Kabuki.
yeah,
Kabuki kind
the
of helped
great
bring him
Kabuki.
in.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember more of the great Kabuki than I do Muda. Unfortunately, I hate to admit that, now at the end of his career, but it was much more of a I think he got kind of lost in the shuffle there. You had to be paying attention to catch that, first time around America.
For me, I just remember thinking that, and it probably was my introduction in some ways to what the Japanese style was. Like, he came in and he feuded with Sting. I remember his feuds with Sting and Flair, and of course those are two
Woo!
opponents that are good to be in the ring with. But I just
Yeah,
remember thinking, man, this dude works way faster than like most American wrestlers. And then I
right.
remember he had that springboard elbow smash into the corner, which while not uncommon today, at the time, like blew this like young
Hmm.
teenager's mind. Like, I hadn't seen anything like that. But Muda was very impressive. Didn't have a long career here, but obviously since 1984 around the world. Thank you, Muda, and enjoy retirement and stay retired. Be one of those
Stay
that actually
retired.
managed to stay to the sidelines.
No such thing in wrestling. No such
No,
thing.
there is not.
Want to
Doug,
see
with that,
Muda versus The Rock at WrestleMania, 52.
well, at least something will get the Rock back.
Right.
Maybe I would accept Muda kind of, reneging on the retirement if he could bring the Rock back to WrestleMania. But
We're more likely to see Rock versus James Gunn at WrestleMania, but that's another channel. So
it's another channel. This one is
wrestling.
AEW Revolution as our
Oh,
main event topic
my
tonight, Doug.
goodness. Let me pull up some notes here on my phone.
Are
Okay.
we? Are you ready?
I am ready. And I do not believe this card. There's only 7 matches instead of 17 on here right now.
But
I'm
it's
calling
AEW. They'll all have like 20 false finishes, all go at least 30 minutes. That's an hour for every two of those. So you're still looking at like what, 4.5, 5 hours here? That's right.
right, and of course we do have like an Iron Man match in here too. So
That is, oh yeah, you have 6 matches to fill out the other 4 hours because we know what the main event's going to go.
I might as well go ahead and take off next Monday and now turn that in tomorrow. Sorry, I can't be here next week. I'm still going to be watching wrestling.
Well, just point them to the broadcast and let them hear our explanation of things, and they'll understand.
I will share this with my boss tomorrow.
Excused absence for anyone. Just point them to this show. Make sure they like and subscribe. Everybody, let us know what you think and what matches you're most excited about, and where we get it wrong here. Because let's see where we disagree, Doug. Let's
We're
start
not
with
going to
this.
get it wrong, man.
We might.
Oh, we won't.
Let's
Where we
start
starting?
with what I think might start. And I think it's to get the crowd off on a hot start with a title match that'll be nonstop action. I'm thinking that 6-man is a likely starter.
You know what? I'm looking at this, and and I think there's a pretty good list here that kind of lays out things. I think you're right. That 6-man's a great starter. You got the Bucks, you got Kenny, you've got the Elite, you've got the House of Black.
House of
Yeah,
Black, trying to wrest those titles away from the Elite, who have not been back all that long.
No, I'm calling this now that Brandon Cutler gets taken out by Julia Hart at some point. That's going to happen. Julia Hart is taking Cutler out ringside. I don't know how it's happening, but it is happening, and I'm all
Actually,
for it.
I would definitely put my money on Julia over Brandon. So no doubt. I also am putting my money on the Elite in this. I think a lot of fans are excited because as soon as they had the 6-man titles, we had to figure out a way to get the Elite versus House of Black. Unfortunately, between the suspensions on the side of the Elite
Mm-hmm.
and Malachi walking away for a time from
Right.
AEW, we're just now getting to it, which is why I think it's way too early to end it. I think this is just the beginning of a longer feud. I don't expect the definitive winner is what I'm saying. I think the Elite maintain with a roll up or some other, like it could have gone either way, and then get the heck, beaten down out of them so that we can continue this for more than just this one pay-per-view. Or do you think it ends
No,
tonight?
I totally agree with you. I do not see a decisive win with somebody getting a one wing angel and of course nobody. That's the most protected move
Yeah.
I think in all of wrestling. But yeah, we don't get a decisive win from that. It's probably as a surprise roll up or something like that. Oh, or maybe a ref bump because why not start it out with a ref bump or two? But we are going to. It's going to lead to bigger things. It's going to be a build. We're going to see a series of because the Elite needs somebody at the House of Black caliber that
Yeah.
they need that. I mean, going up against best friends, that's not going to work. Or Dark Order, that's not going to work right now. I think things like that aren't going to work. This group is the best challenge for the Elite right now.
And I think they will take them. I actually think that eventually the House of
Eventually.
Black will win, just not on this particular night.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we're in agreement already. So let's get to a match that we disagree on because,
let's
that
do
went
it.
too well. How about, no, we're going to think the same on this one. You want to go women's title?
Let's go women's title. Let's do that. Let's do
Jamie
that.
Hayter?
Man, it took me a long time to get around to Jamie Hayter. And then I finally just watching her one night, I was like, oh, I get it. My bad. Sorry. So sorry about that. But, Saraya Hayter and Ruby Soho, is that what we're looking at here? Is that official now?
That is what we're looking at. 3-way match for the AEW Women's World Championship.
Former Paige does not need a belt. She's, the former Paige, WWE Paige. She does not need a belt. I don't believe can wrestle that much anyway. She could be a fighting champion, maybe once. I think it's been suggested medically that, maybe one match a month is good for her. That doesn't really go over well for a champion unless they're like Roman Reigns, and I don't see them doing that with this belt. I really enjoy Jamie Hayter as champion. I finally get it, but I would like to see Ruby Soho have her moment. I would like to see that.
Okay, now good. See, we're going to disagree.
All right.
I like Ruby as well. Of course, the former Paige, I also enjoy. I have to say that to date, she's yet to have, and I get that she might be under some restrictions.
Sure.
More at this point, out of ring character impact than anything she's done in the ring, where it looks like there might be some limitations, some ring rust still. Jamie Hayter has made a believer out of me. I'm with you on that. I didn't get it at first either. I think that, I can't deny it. You can go back in the archives when we did our show about who we would cut if we had to cut.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I mentioned Jamie Hayter.
Right.
I think we both did because we didn't get it.
Didn't get it.
But Hayter's winning this one, not just because everyone is on board and us included now, but this ain't her title reign isn't ending until the good doctor decides.
Yeah. Good doctor can decide to call it in and turn on her. Okay.
Eventually that whole you were my subordinate and you were my mentee and I was the mentor and now you're playing second fiddle. Britt Baker is not going to be able character-wise to handle that for too very long. And at some point she will snap on Jamie Hayter and there's where your money feud is.
I would like to see that. I really would, but I think it's Ruby's time. I think that, it's Ruby's time. So, all right, we're agreeing to disagree on this one. Cool.
Perfect. Let's see if we agree to disagree. Go ahead.
Unfortunately, on these 3-person matches, there's still a chance that both of us are wrong.
It's true. Saraya walks away the champ, thanks to Tony Storm or something, and we're both wrong.
Exactly. All right. Where are we going next?
What do you say, Chris Jericho versus Ricky Starks?
Man, this should have been done already, don't you think? I mean, why are we doing this again? Unless it's to get Ricky Starks a nice rub on a pay-per-view on a premium. Oh, it's not a premium live event. It's a legit pay-per-view. We ain't watching this on Peacock.
No, we're not. Yeah, I saw your lighting change there. Apparently,
that's weird.
The Ocho does not care for you
The
demeaning his
Ocho is
match.
messing with my ring lighting. Come on, dude. That was weird. Okay, so I may go into darkness soon and have to have some backup lighting. But I'm saying Ricky Starks takes this. It is a continuation of making Ricky Starks a star. And I thought we were done with this. Hoped we were done with this, but I guess we're not yet. So I say
I
Ricky Starks
love.
comes out on top here.
I'm not going to disagree with you on this one because Ricky Starks is a star. I mean,
Yes.
mark
Yes.
mark my words here on the Two Bros Wrestling Show. Within 2 years, Ricky Stark is going to be a world champion, or he's going to be in the main event fighting for the world championship on a regular
Yes.
basis in short order. He's
Absolutely.
got a look, he's got charisma, he's got everything that Chris Jericho knows that he has, and Chris Jericho is a smart businessman and will
Mm-hmm.
do what's right by business and put Ricky Starks over. I do
Yep.
agree with you also, not just on the outcome, Doug. I agree with you that this one is oddly booked because shouldn't Ricky Starks be dying to beat Chris Jericho instead of beat Chris Jericho first match out, and now we're getting back to like facing Chris Jericho again? It would make more sense that had he been waiting for this moment to beat Chris
Yes.
Jericho.
Yeah, I mean, this seems like something that's already over and done.
A little
But here
backwards.
it is a little backwards, but hey, whatever. Jericho, I think Jericho will do the right thing here and put over Starks. I mean, Jericho is, clearly, I mean, he's taken pins by Starks before. And what's the guy's name? Andretti, Air Andretti or
Action.
whatever. Action Andretti. Maybe that could have started like that. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, but I think Ricky Starks is coming out with this one.
Agree. And this one actually might be one of those two that that has a chance to open. If they don't open hot with a 6-man, they may open with this one because it has the least stakes probably if you look up and down this card of title matches. It is to be noted, though, that the special stipulation on this one is the Jericho Appreciation Society are barred from ringside.
Yes.
Initially, they said that there would be no one at ringside. And then once they started promoting it online, it switched to just on the Jericho side of things, or the Jericho Appreciation Society called out, which makes me think someone not currently a member of the Jericho Appreciation Society may be joining, that Jericho might have something else under his sleeve.
I see. God, I hope not. I want this feud to be over. Let's end this.
Yeah,
I mean, I love JS, but no.
Sure. Yeah. We don't need to see Ricky Starks make Daddy Magic's nipples hard again. So I think we're
oh my gosh, we just got demonetized.
Hey, it's his catchphrase, not ours. We're just here to report the news. That's right. We are journalists. We are wrestling journalists here. All right, Doug. Well, what do you say about how we're thinking about that AEW TNT championship match? We got champion Samoa Joe versus Wardlow, and I know this has been a hot potato. Like, this title's passed around way more times than it should. However, I think it's going to change again.
I agree, dude. I hate that it's a hot potato title, but I agree. Wardlow's taking that title home with him, man. I really think Joe's going to do the job here, and Wardlow's going to come out looking super strong, especially that promo he cut a few weeks ago about getting his hair cut because he grew his hair out for his dad who had cancer, and working at the cancer center myself. I'm like, I feel you, dude. I feel you. So,
I mean, yeah, the company sees a lot in Wardlow. It's obvious. Like they've treated him special from the start. You can't have him lose to Joe again. And Joe's probably destined to be more like the gatekeeper on the Ring of Honor side now that ROH has started back up. So it makes sense if they hadn't already changed this title 20 times in the last 6 months. But I mean, I'm kind of, I don't know. Let's see what you think. For me, Wardlow is like Hater was. Like, I didn't get it for the longest time until suddenly he blossomed in front of my eyes. And now I'm if I was booking this, look, again, ignoring all the hot potato title changes, I'd put my money and my title on Wardlow. I think there's big money in Wardlow as a main eventer down the line.
I agree, and they need to be careful because he has. Well, I mean, it's that classic Vince McMahon, and Vince not is not involved with creative anymore, not at all. But that is a look WWE would go after. I mean, he's got the look. He has gained the skills while being in AEW, being on TV, and he's somebody to keep around and eventually strap a rocket to. I think, and I would not have said that a few years ago. Would not
And
have.
working with MJF did not hurt.
Absolutely. Absolutely,
MJF is owed a lot for Wardlow being Wardlow today.
Yes, absolutely.
Doug, I'm going to go next. I know I know what we have to end with, but I'm going to go the title match instead of the non-title match because I think I think it might be a bigger one on this card. Let's talk the 4-way tag team match.
Don't you think that they're going to have the match between this 4-way tag match between the main event and Mox Hangman, because they got to have some sort of cooler. Not that it's going to cool down the crowd, but
this could be the cool down match because I think that there's less involved with this one that have the fans totally invested. But I want to save to me the two biggest matches of the night. We'll talk about less. And I agree with you 100%. All right. That you will have to split those up. But 4-way tag for the AEW World Tag Team Champions. We got the Guns, Austin and Colton, against the Acclaimed and Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, and then the winner of the Casino Tag Team Battle Royal, which apparently now is happening on. Isn't it happening on Dynamite? I think
it's happening on Dynamite. So we don't know who our fourth team is right now. However, just looking at this. The booking money says you should put it on the Acclaimed, but I'm going to go Jarrett and Lethal just to take it off just to take it off the Guns and just get even more heat on those titles, so that when the Acclaimed finally do get them, there's this giant pop. I think the Acclaimed need to chase for a while. Regardless of who the fourth team is, I think the Acclaim need to chase, because that makes it so much more satisfying when they finally get those belts.
Any thoughts on who the Casino Tag Team Royale winners will be?
Not unless we see a returning FTR, but I don't think they're back in the ring until April, so I'm not sure. Of course, around April, their contracts also expire, so they could show up at WrestleMania for all we know.
It's very true.
Yeah.
As far as this one goes, I have zero idea who could that fourth team could be. But I think that the Guns retain, and I think the Guns retain in a way that does not involve the Acclaimed, so that the Acclaimed, the Guns, and who gets Daddy's love storyline can continue.
You see, I agree. The Acclaimed are not going to be back on the mat for this. You can get the 1, 2, 3. It's going to be others, but I'm just saying it's Lethal, and we hot potato with this tag team title for a while too, much like the TNA Championship there, where we chase after it for a while and let the Acclaim chase after it.
You're just going for Lethal and Jarrett because you've always loved to say slap nuts. And you enjoy the 12-foot tall manservant dude that.
Oh, I forgot about that dude. Actually, I'm just a huge Sanjay Dutt mark. I mean, really, who can say that they're not?
So. That's one we will not argue on either. The original player from the Himalaya. I've always been a fan, man. Always been a fan. He might break a pencil or two before all is said and done in this as well.
I'm sure a pencil or two will be broken next Sunday night while I'm falling asleep because I'm an old man recovering from COVID and needing 7 naps a day. But that's beside the point.
Doug, it's not just going to be pencils that are broken. There may be a table or two that might, I don't know. Call me crazy, and you can disagree with me on this one, but I think in that Jon Moxley Hangman Page Texas Death Match, I'm going to call it now. Call me crazy. Jon Moxley's going to bleed.
That is so uncharacteristic. I do not see it happening. John Moxley is such a nut job, man, and I
He
love it.
is.
It's so entertaining. But here's what I'm thinking, man. After watching, getting caught up on wrestling and watching, the Blackpool Combat Club do their thing over the past few weeks, Moxley holding on tight. Not, I don't think Moxley's playing that tweener role anymore. I don't think the Blackpool Combat Club is playing tweener roles anymore. They're going full on heel and full on heel quickly. So I think Hangman's going to win here, which is going to send Moxley over the edge. Just like in the main event, I think there's going to be a different outcome to that than what everybody would want. We're not going to be getting yes chance at the end of that, but we'll get to that, which is going to push everybody in Blackpool just over the edge, and we're going to get a full-on heel faction coming out of Revolution with Blackpool, and that starts with this Moxley match.
I think we're only having like really two disagreements thus far. This one could go either way. These are both main event guys. These are both guys who have traded victories. It should be pointed out how good their prior matches with one another have been. This has a real shot at being the match of the night, and not just because of the bloody display that they are about to put on, because this is the this is why, Doug, they'll need that cool down match, because someone's going to have to change the canvas, mop up the ringside of John Moxley's blood.
Exactly. Either that or CM Punk shows up and takes them both out because he's got beef with both of them.
If that happens, then I'm going to just blade myself and just get it over with. I'm with you, dude. Hangman's going on this one. I think that he needs it more. I mean, Moxley's almost fireproof at this point.
Yeah.
But Hangman needs that signature victory, because our world champion's going to need some face challengers. And
absolutely,
Hangman is more obvious on the face side, whereas Moxley's in that tweener position. But I also agree with you. Blackpool is got to go in a different direction, and I think we're starting to see that. I mean, Wheeler Yuta, smarting off to other faces, and I mean, when you start picking on Orange Cassidy, like you're already on that line of right, I think the Blackpool is going to the hillside, and Moxley is going to go nuts when he is not able to win this match against Hangman Page.
Yep. I think that starts. Well, not really starts, because the seeds have already been planted. Throughout the past couple of weeks.
I like that.
Yeah, that's me planting seeds. This is how I plant seeds. That's probably why nothing ever grows in my garden.
Or in his lap, apparently.
Right. That's why I'm doing it wrong. I plant seeds on my lap and nothing ever grows.
Can't help you there.
Good God. Oh, let's get to this main event, Kevin.
Hey, I cannot wait to get to this main event, Doug, because we on the Two Bros Wrestling Show are huge fans of MJF, have been for some time, and like one of the best mic workers, young talents. Goodness. And then, I mean, Daniel Bryan is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. He still manages to have, like, more often than not, if he wrestles on Dynamite, it's a pretty good chance he's going to be my match of the week, because he's still able to go in there and absolutely deliver. Dude, can you believe that, like, okay, an hour Iron Man, this will, I think, enlighten people on MJF, because we know that MJF is a great mic man. Where maybe he doesn't get the credit he deserves is his in-ring work. And you're going to have to go 60 minutes. I mean, you're going to have to go 60 minutes with one of the greatest technical wrestlers of all time. This is I know he's the world champion. I know he's a made man already, but in many ways, to me, I think this is a really signature moment for the MJF character.
Absolutely. Because I think, at the end of the day, like I say before, Blackpool's not having a good night this night, man. Their mentor is in the hospital because of MJF, or working behind the scenes at WWE for the next year and can't have an on-camera role, whatever. But that's some crazy injuries that MJF inflicted on him. But anyway, Blackpool's not having a good night. Moxley loses. Brian Danielson, Daniel Bryan, whatever you want to call him, however you're attached to that name, the American Dragon puts over MJF this next weekend, next Sunday night, probably about 6 in the morning, the way AEW pay per views run, but. Yeah, and it will be an amazing match where, like you say, the naysayers or the people who just don't get it, are like, yeah, okay, he can talk, whatever. Yeah, you're going to see him go. You're going to see Danielson go probably harder than he has in a while, just to put this kid over.
Yeah, because again, like Jericho earlier in the card, here's a pro who you don't have to argue with about doing business. It's probably, even if you left it up to him, Brian would Danielson would say, yeah, this is the direction this should go. I've had my time. Ultimately, as a big Brian Danielson mark, I would love to see him be a ROH, WWE, AEW world champion. I would think that, the technical wrestler of his skills to be able to hang his hat on something like that, I would love.
Right.
This isn't the night. This is MJF is way too early in his run. This is a stipulation purely for Brian Danielson to put over the MJF character and he's this too, and you all haven't recognized this side of this guy yet.
Yes, absolutely. I 100% agree. So did we just disagree on like the tag team match? Well, we agree that the Acclaim's not winning. Yeah. So we agree on that. And then
and the women's match.
Yeah.
That's it. But right. I mean, we are going to be probably those are probably be the only two matches that go a different direction, and they both can go in directions that doesn't include either of us being correct. So we're probably wrong on all 7 of these, just in different ways.
Tony's watching, taking notes right now. Damn it, Doug.
I mean, if you look at the card, though, whether we're right or wrong on a couple of these, I think not just because we agreed on many of them. I think that some of the booking seems like it's pretty obvious. I'm sure that knowing this, Tony will throw a few curveballs in that will make us wrong. But the card, top to bottom, as is usually the case, is stacked. AEW not having a pay-per-view on every single month allows them to stack the card. Overstack, some would say, to your point about how the length. But that 60-minute match, I cannot wait to see. I know how it's going to end, I think, but it's going to be wonderful.
Right. It really is. Yeah. And to your point, he is a champion, but this was what will make him the man, to, steal a phrase there.
And that's why it's important for Hangman to win earlier the night, because you have a pure babyface opponent that is a next logical challenger for an MJF. They don't need as many on the hillside as long as MJF is your champion. And
so true.
Yeah.
And really, it's already been setting the stage for things anyway, because, they're sprinkling those little seeds there that, that whole stable is going heel and going hard heel soon. Yeah. So, 2 losses on a major event like this just drive them over the edge. We may not even see Danielson for a while after this.
It's very possible. I mean, he definitely has one of those contracts that he's structured in a way that he could take time off as he needs it, and to keep the character fresh and come back. And same for Moxley, who's overdue a fishing trip, right?
Exactly.
It should be an entertaining night for all 8-9 hours that it lasts. So be sure to tune in next Sunday night, right?
Absolutely.
Doug, what do you say? Hey, before we get off to the main event, in the comments, everybody, let us know what you think. Which match are you most excited about? What are you thinking the outcomes are going to be? Tell us where we got it wrong. With that, Doug, we can go to the big finish.
Let's go to a big finish. I got to get. I wrote my big finishes down on the trusty notebook here instead of in the phone. Because
I want to say go Botch first, because I have a feeling that you did some great foreshadowing earlier.
Oh, hold on. Yeah. Okay, I had to write one more note there. So, you Botch, man. Okay. Tony Khan has become quite the carny, I think, in a lot of respects. I mean, he is living the promoter life, right? He is full on in character as the promoter, goes above and beyond to make things way bigger than they ever need to be to get eyes on product. But man, you want to talk about a botch. This whole like, road to the top or Adam Cole's can come back to work thing that they're doing. And that did not need teased as a special announcement. When Tony Khan teased as a special announcement, you expect him to say, hey, this major player from this major organization is now all elite. That's what he's programmed us with at this point. And then to sneak some like crap like this on us, where there's another reality TV show to replace Brandy and Cody Rhodes nonsense. Now, this is a bug.
They're not getting a season 2 of Road to the Top? Did I miss that?
I mean, I love Britt Baker. I love Adam Cole. Yeah, it'll be super interesting to see behind the scenes stuff and see him coming back, and recovering and getting back in the ring and all that fun stuff and whatever happens next after, this one night episode that's good with this new show. Well, what is it? All Access or backstage
unrestricted, I think.
Unrestricted. Botch, complete botch, man. Get this nonsense out of here. Come on, Tony.
You would rather, if you had an hour worth of TV on TBS, would you rather him send in the announcement, like, be sure to tune in after Dynamite, switch the channel to our sister station for the new ROH?
Yes, absolutely.
You got too many wrestlers. Man. You got so much talent, more in-ring time on air. And I'm with you, Doug.
This is like when Vince just like started buying everybody up off the, taking them off the chessboard just to have them. Tony's doing that now, and he could do something with that. No ROH, no big signing because like we said earlier, what Tony needs is another wrestler. But it's like we've got a reality TV show.
A reality TV show.
Cool.
I'll watch it, but I'm with you. I'm like,
I'll watch it too. Exactly.
I almost felt like that. Oh, great! One more thing to watch instead of something I would have been legitimately excited about.
Right. Yeah. One more thing that we will both watch because we're both old marks, but it did did not deserve that big play up, that big build up to it. No, botch in my book.
So my botch, Doug. Little quiz for you, okay?
All right, I'm going to fail it.
Tell me, what do Kurt Angle, The Undertaker, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Triple H, Roman Reigns, and Goldberg all have in common?
They've all been in WWE? Wait, have they all been to Saudi?
I can't fault you on that first point. Doug, I just named you the WrestleMania opponents of Brock Lesnar. To which this year we can add...
Dude, so close to that being my botch. So close.
I mean, Kurt Angle, Undertaker, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Triple H, Roman Reigns, twice, I might add, and Goldberg. Those are the prior 8 WrestleMania matches that Brock Lesnar had. I get it. You cannot be the main event every year, nor should you be. Everyone has to go down on the ladder to give other people time to shine. However, Brock Lesnar is a special talent who requires millions of dollars to come in, and he should be saved for the difference maker. Have him put over a young guy who you think is going to be the next big thing. Have him come in for a dream match against Stone Cold, which apparently Stone Cold said no to. It needs to be a big match. Lesnar versus Omos seems like not only just a waste of space on the card, it seems like it cheapens what Brock Lesnar has done. It seems like if you are trying to put Omos over, you're making the wrong call by having Lesnar lose to someone like Omos. No offense to Omos, but it's just a waste of the however bazillion dollars it takes to get Brock Lesnar there. One of these things is not like the other, and I'm sorry, there's no one on that list of Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers that in any way resemble Omos being the next opponent of Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania.
You know what? Somewhere, this was so close to being my botch, and I weighed these two things. Tony Khan, Omos, Lesnar, WrestleMania, and I went with Khan's like overhyping of this like new reality show, just because there's somewhere in the back of this brain of this old Mark, there is this belief that Lesnar's just going to show up on Monday and destroy Omos, and say, yeah, no, that's not happening. Yeah, I've got unfinished business with Lashley, and that's the way we're going. And we're just going. He's just going to straight up destroy Omos, which is going to strengthen the hurt business. To backing up Lashley, and that's the way I want it to go. I don't think. I don't know. Triple H has done such a great job at creative. I can't believe that's the way they take Lesnar
I know
for
Triple H.
WrestleMania.
We expect more of you, right?
We expect more. Is Vince back in control all of a sudden? What the hell?
I know that was definitely a botch. I think we probably both covered two of the least inspiring things in wrestling this week. What do you say? Let's go to happier things and our performer of the week.
Dude, can you cut a better promo than MJF did on Wednesday night? I mean, yeah, I at this point, I don't know if he and his fiance are actually legitimately broken up, or if she is in on the gimmick now too and living the gimmick with him. Either way, great job with taking the reality of that situation. If they are broken up and it's an ex-fiance, great job making that personal and working it into the story. And if she's not, kudos to her for, selling his, autographed artwork for cheap now. I love it.
Dude, I'm not sure that MGF didn't really take his dead high school girlfriend and put her in the front seat of his car to make her look. I mean, this guy's despicable. I'm with you 100%. It's I've had several weeks now of either Cody Rhodes and or Cody and Paul Heyman and or Cody and Sami Zayn. I have to say that I think the follow up to Royal Rumble, the Cody Rhodes bit was maybe a step down from the work that had been the prior weeks. I do think there's a little bit of the air out of the balloon because people want Sammy so bad to be in a match that he's not going to likely be in.
And they're being
allowed an opening.
And they're being so cautious there too with that, because I think Heyman got airtime quickly before those Sammy chants broke out. On Monday night. They're afraid of that. They don't want a Daniel Bryan situation. There's a clear plan there, but they're. I don't know. We could do a whole show on the Sami Zayn problem that WWE has on their hands right now.
That they created for themselves. But I do think because that reason of worried about the Sami chance, they kept Cody a little short, which made the work a little less memorable than it's been.
Absolutely.
And then, to your point, MJF just goes out on Wednesday night and shines. Shines like a diamond, like a more despicable character, and a more of a contrast to the family man of Bryan Danielson, and then to call out his kids and you could make the argument, because I know I have to, that there's some things you don't talk about, death and things, and you were getting pretty close to that line with CTE and all, but then he's so believable that I don't know, is that the character, or is it just like I hate you because I really think that you believe that stuff that you're saying, and it makes me not like you. I give a little bit of forgiveness to him just because he's so darn good at it, and definitely performance of the week. Must see promo.
Absolutely.
Doug, let's end this thing on our matches of the week. What do you say?
So, man, I like a good theme. So, of course, I'm going to stick with AEW. I had so much fun with Wheeler Yuta and Orange Cassidy opening up Dynamite. So much fun with that. Such a great match. Tells such a great story throughout with the psychology. And, I like it because it's bigger than just that match, because it's working towards bigger things with the Blackpool Combat Club, too. And I just... that for me, that was it. Yuta and Orange Cassidy this week, opening up Dynamite.
I was already mad enough that we agreed on 5 of the 7 outcomes of AEW Revolution, and now we've agreed on 2 of the 3 parts of the big finish. Man, I was this close to giving it to the really solid performance that Edge and Austin Theory put on Monday night, which was great. And then Orange Cassidy defends the All-Atlantic Championship against Wheeler Yuta. I'm a huge Yuta guy, and Orange Cassidy is underrated because of his gimmick. I think he is easy to overlook. That once he decides to go and get the hands out of the pockets, he can turn it on, and they turned it on Wednesday night. Match of the week. Absolutely match of the week and must-see TV. Hey, all Wednesday night, go see that MJF performance. Go see Orange Cassidy versus Wheeler Yuta. You have to see it. It's the go home. Well, I guess it's not the go home show. They got one more, but we're building to Revolution, which is next Sunday, Doug. That is a great segue to say we are not going to be live next Sunday night and compete with AEW. So we have a special middle of the week broadcast for you. Thursday night, we're going to drop the show on Facebook and YouTube. It is our long and delayed and much anticipated Wrestling for Sale. We are going to look at the history of wrestling transactions, business mergers, acquisitions, bankruptcies, and what it all may mean for Vince McMahon. We're going to look at the winners and losers in each of these scenarios to see how it turned out. And we want you to join us. So definitely join us on Thursday for that special broadcast, Wrestling for Sale. And then we're back the following Sunday right in the thick of WrestleMania season. We're going to be starting our WrestleMania programming leading all the way up to the big weekend. So be sure to tune in for that. You see our schedule down here. Doug, this has been fun.
This has been fun. We should do it again sometime. We do it?
Yeah, maybe in a few days. A few days sooner than normal.
Let's do it.
Fan. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Two Bros Wrestling Show.
Absolutely. Go watch some wrestling.